I was just about to record a video going over the Eagles win, what happened after the season ended and all the firings and what's going on with Wink Martindale, and kind of compile that all together as like somewhat of a ending the season video. But we just got an article that dropped not even 30 minutes ago by Paul Schwartz going over and giving us more information on this Wink Martindale story, and it's gonna blow you guys away. Let's get right into it. What is going on, guys? What is going on, 27 Squad? Welcome back into another video, and I wish I could come to you guys with better circumstances and a step in the right direction, but man, it just seems like this is going down just a huge spiral, a huge decline. It's just, I'm dying inside. I'm dying inside. I swear, this story is almost like some teenage, TV show where it's full of drama and full of, high school relationships and breaking up and fighting people because, they said something about your mom and stuff like that. Bro, it is crazy. Now, let me give you the quick rundown before we get into this article to kind of refresh everybody's minds, or if you didn't know already. So, after the Giants season ended, the Giants went ahead in the next day, 8:30 in the morning, had a press conference with both GM Joe Schoen and head coach Brian Daboll, and everybody thought to themselves, man, it is pretty early to have a press conference right after the season ends, 8:30 in the morning. And in that morning, I believe this was before the press conference, the Giants went ahead and let go of their offensive line coach Bobby Johnson and their special teams coordinator Thomas McKinney, who everybody was in 100%, maybe 99.9%, wanted to get rid of both of these coaches as soon as the season was over. I think we were all in agreement for that. And then we also had some firings that made sense as well. We had the Wilkins brothers, who, to my knowledge, I did not know they were linked to this Wink situation at all. I do not pay super close attention to all the relationships of the position coaches and where they come from and the connections that they have with other coaches on the coaching staff. I really don't get really into that, but a lot of people have done that already and they knew this already. But the Wilkins brothers, if you guys don't know, outside linebacker coach Drew Wilkins and defensive assistant Kevin Wilkins are brothers, and they are disciples, if you would say, of Wink Martindale, and they are a part of this whole thing that went down with the resignation of Wink Martindale. But like I said, those two were fired, and I didn't think much of it until I went on Twitter and saw all these other people saying, man, these are like, Wink Martindale's kind of his proteges. He brings them everywhere he goes, and he was with them also at Baltimore. Now, this is not the first time we've heard about this Brian Daboll versus Wink Martindale dispute. There was a couple of instances where we even saw on the sideline Brian Daboll just yelling at Wink Martindale on defense, and while he's going over, doing his job as defensive coordinator, and Wink just staring at the field, not like kind of tuning Brian Daboll out. I wish I could find some footage of that, but I seen that live in game, and I thought, hey, it's just part of football. I see coaches yelling at other coaches, yelling at players all the time. It happens, but it seems like there's more to that. Jay Glazer came on in the pregame show, the Fox pregame show, before the New England Patriots game, which they won 10-7, and Jay Glazer comes out and says that Wink Martindale has had enough of Brian Daboll, that they go back and forth all the time, and that he is not liked by Wink Martindale and some of the coaching staff. We probably know who that is now, and that Brian Daboll was saying expletives in normal talk with the coaches, the mother effing, and I don't know if there's any other words that were said. I don't know if it was used as an insulting way, because guys, this is football. I mean, everybody curses and yells in football, so I have to think that there are some insults thrown with those curses and stuff like that. Just stuff you don't say with respect. Even if you're adults, you just don't say it. When you're two adults who are trying to put together a football team. I don't know, man. I don't know. Then there was the Xavier McKinney situation, where I believe this was after the Raiders game, and McKinney went on and said some things about how the coaches are not listening to the players and they need to do a better job at that. And apparently there were some adjustments that Xavier McKinney wanted to make that Wink Martindale was just not listening to. And then Wink Martindale a couple of days later addressed the situation with the press and said that he was kind of disappointed about it and proceeded to kind of throw him under the bus a bit, saying things like it took him a while to tell me or figure out what he wanted to do, and the play that he wanted to run was something we only ran one time, and kind of making Xavier McKinney just look dumb in a sense. And Bobby Skinner of Talking Giants also said the same thing, and I just think that's what it made it look like. But it was kind of brushed under the rug, right? It was just kind of put under the rug. Nobody really talked about it other than that. And another thing nobody really talked about was Wink Martindale's time with the Baltimore Ravens. Now, we don't really know anything about that situation. It was kept under wraps, on the hush-hush, but now it really is kind of putting the pieces together about what the hell happened in Baltimore. Two respectable coaches in Wink Martindale and John Harbaugh just seemed to did not get along, and they mutually parted ways after what was a decent season. I don't think they had a bad season that it was enough to let go of Wink Martindale, even though his defense has regressed over the course of seasons due to injuries, I would say, for the most part. But there was definitely a big divide between those two coaches, and now I feel like we have to really dive into what the hell happened in Baltimore, and it's probably gonna give us a better conclusion about what happened in New York, because Brian Daboll may be an a-hole to people, but there's something about Wink and Daboll that really is rubbing people the wrong way and really rub themselves the wrong way. I mean, there's a really big divide between those two coaches, and I don't think it's normal. I don't think every coach hates Daboll, and I don't think Daboll dislikes every coach that he employs. I think it's just really between Wink and Daboll. And it's almost like Daboll was hinting at everybody that he was leaving in 24 hours. As you guys saw, it kind of went viral on Twitter. Wink Martindale had on his play sheet, I don't know, from that show 24, I've never watched it before, but 24, probably meaning 24 hours, and in less than 24 hours, he resigns as coach. So that kind of makes a lot of sense, and we've never seen something like that before. A lot of people were wondering what it was. I think some people on Twitter also said, hey, that means Wink is gone, because, you know, the writing was kind of on the wall, and it turned out to be true. Wink Martindale was leaving the Giants in the span of 24 hours. But let's get on to this article. There's a lot to talk about. As of Tuesday evening, the team had not heard anything from Martindale, who stormed out of the building Monday, and Tuesday morning was on a flight headed to a home he has in Florida. There are pictures of people spotting Wink Martindale going on a flight to Sarasota, Florida, which I'm only 2 hours away from, so who's coming with me? Who's coming with me? What is apparent is that Martindale and the Giants are done after 2 seasons, with clear and present signs that Martindale and head coach Brian Daboll endured through a deteriorating relationship that could no longer continue. Martindale was under contract and owed $3 million for the 2024 season. He forfeits that money if he indeed resigns his position. Now, this is why there were reports and a lot of people saying that Wink Martindale wanted to be fired as coach. So a part of me thinks he was selling some of these games. There were points in time, and I think it even says it in this article, where the Giants were depleted in the secondary, and Wink Martindale was still blitzing the house and leaving these guys open on the field. And a lot of people thought, hey, it's Wink, he's gonna blitz no matter what. But a part of me thinks that he is selling, that he was kind of selling this game, trying to get himself fired, trying to make the wrong decision to get himself fired instead of having to resign so he can collect the rest of his money. And you know, part of it worked, part of it didn't. I mean, some of it, you know, the blitzes really got there a lot, and you know, it was part of why the Giants had so many turnovers going in towards the end of the season. So not sure if that helped in his benefit. Also, if he resigns, his contract does not simply go away. A resignation would allow the Giants to prevent Martindale from accepting a job with another team, which is not a situation Martindale wants to get embroiled in. Which is funny because, listen, the only team that the Giants are going to allow Wink Martindale and the Wilkins brothers to go to is a Pop Warner team, because ain't no way in hell the Giants are going to allow Wink Martindale to go to any team, especially the Eagles, who I hear is probably going to be interested in Martindale if he is on the open market. But the Giants, especially about what's going on, I think they're going to get petty right back and decide to not let him find a coaching job in the 2024 season. Thus, his wildly emotional response to Daboll firing his most loyal confidant, outside linebackers coach Drew Wilkins, along with his younger brother Kevin, a defensive assistant, has ramifications that need to get cleaned up contractually before Martindale and the Giants part ways. Now, I said a little bit earlier that the Giants had a press conference at like 8:30 in the morning, very early, and I feel like Brian Daboll had to get there early enough to say what he had to say about Wink, and saying that he expects Wink to be back. Now, this press conference happened before Daboll and Wink initially had a meeting. He even said it in the press conference. Daboll did not talk to any of the coordinators yet because he expects them back. He said that he had a conversation with the people that he let go, but not the people that he expected to come back. So he said he took the time to say 8:30 in the morning to say that he expected Wink Martindale and Mike Kafka to be back as the coordinators in 2024. Here's a rundown of the things that happened. Daboll met with Martindale on Monday and told him there were staff changes coming. Daboll mentioned the dismissals of special teams coach Thomas McGahee and Bobby Johnson. There is no secret of how close Daboll is with Johnson, and that this was a tough one for Daboll, but he felt like it was necessary for the betterment of the team moving forward. So Brian Daboll let go of his good buddy Bobby Johnson, who deservingly so had allowed the most sacks, second most sacks in NFL history by an offensive line. So if anybody deserved to lose their job, it was definitely Bobby Johnson, and he so happens to be Brian Daboll's friend, good friend, and so he had to make that sacrifice. And he also said, hey, I want to keep you around, but I have to let go of the Wilkins brothers. We know that those are your proteges, those are your little disciples, but we have to let him go. And listen, guys, this defense was not great, okay? There were a lot of turnovers towards the end of the season that kind of helped pad the stats a little bit, kept us in games. There were some games where the defense really did their part, looking at the Patriots game, the Jets game, Washington game, right? Where the defense really played their role, played their part very well. But statistically, the Giants, you can't just throw that away. Everybody wants to look at stats. You can't throw that away. The Giants defense were not good last season, okay? And Bobby Skinner went into a big rant about it, and I'll just let him talk.
I have no problem with them going on the offensive when Wink did it all. And you know what? Goodbye, Drew Wilkins. How come Brian Daboll is expected to fire his good friend Bobby Johnson? Why? Why is he expected to fire his good friend Bobby Johnson? Because the offensive line performed the worst in the fucking NFL with high draft assets. So why does Wink Martindale, not the head coach, get to have his fucking outside linebacker coach, while Kayvon Thibodeau, Azeez Ojulari take 2 years dips in their fucking pass rush win rate? Out of 79 fucking outside linebackers, we have the dead last in Jihad Ward. We got to bring back Jihad Ward because Wink said he's got a lifetime contract with them. Fucking Azeez Ojulari is 74th in the NFL. Azeez Ojulari's pass rush win rate went 6.7% as a rookie, 10.7% in his second year, and then 5.4%. Kayvon saw a 3.3% drop. Well, Kayvon gets sacks. That's because Kayvon's a fucking good pass rusher, and his athletic ability and his natural ability was able to get into some sacks when he played bad tackles. But there was no consistency to his game. So again, I like Wink Martindale as a defensive coordinator, but why does Wink Martindale get to fucking have everything he wants and Brian Daboll doesn't?
So we have to remember, Brian Daboll didn't just fire the Wilkins brothers because they're linked to Wink Martindale and they just wanted him out. They did it because they had to. They had to make changes moving forward. Even if Wink Martindale had the best relationship with Brian Daboll, I think the Wilkins brothers would still lose their jobs, okay? The outside linebackers unit were not good, okay? Kayvon Thibodeau had 11.5 sacks. You heard Bobby say it. We don't need to say it again, but they were not good. They had to go as well. So Martindale was upset about this news, cursed out Brian Daboll, said his piece, got up, slammed the door, and walked out of the building. He notified those close to him that he planned to resign. More than 24 hours later, the Giants, as of right now, have not heard from Martindale, and he is in Sarasota right now. Now, another reason why Kevin Wilkins and Drew Wilkins, they are brothers, by the way. They just don't have the same last name for no reason. They are related. They are brothers. This is the crazy part, okay? This is the crazy part that people have not heard before or seen. There was a feeling in the building that Martindale and Drew Wilkins were creating their own fiefdom. I had to look that up. Fiefdom, which is basically just saying a clique, a little clique, an inner circle with the coaching staff, at times bypassing Daboll and believing they had the answer only to each other and ultimately ownership. So they were pretty much making their own little clique, trying to get people on their side and thinking that they could only answer to themselves. Like, it's almost like a cult, right? But listen, I don't know to what extent this goes. I don't know if it's just between the Wilkins brothers and Wink, or they kind of discipled somebody else or other coaches to do so, or maybe even players, maybe. I don't know. But apparently this is what was happening. They were creating their own little clique, and Daboll knew about it. It says Martindale, 60, I guess we got to put his age in there, was extremely popular with his players and his side of the ball. While hardly dominant, consistently performed better than the offense, which is Daboll's bailiwick. Paul, what is your vocabulary, man? We're from New York, okay? We're East Coast. We don't use words like fiefdom and bailiwick, okay? We just don't. So you guys remember the report of Jay Glazer that we talked about in that Fox pregame show, and Daboll had to do some damage control. As you guys know, there were like, Daboll was saying, oh, we were just discovering coverages, and the only thing that we argue about is, pizza and stuff like that, trying to do some damage control, dismissed it completely, and he even presented Wink Martindale with the game ball.
Hey, Wink, game ball, buddy.
Which is kind of an asshole move. I completely would agree with anybody with that. I'm not on anybody's side here, but I just don't want to pretend that Wink Martindale is some hero. I don't want to pretend that Wink Martindale is like the good guy here. I'm not even saying Brian Daboll is the good guy here. It seems like Brian Daboll is hard to work with, but Wink Martindale, he has a history. You can go back to Baltimore. He has a history. And a lot of people have this theory that Martindale leaked that information to Jay Glazer, and he wanted to get it out there to the masses. So he was trying to play a little game with the media and try to, I guess, force a hand from Daboll and try to get people paying attention to what's going on. I don't know. It says Daboll privately confronted Martindale twice about the report, and no explanation was given. Daboll walked into a meeting of the defensive staff referring to the report, announced if anyone had a problem with him, they should speak up. No one spoke up. That is very big. Nobody spoke up in reference to this report. Nobody was, I guess, man enough to do so and kind of go over the grievances. But that just seems a little shady to me, man. If you have a problem, if you want to try to work things out, it just seems to me that the coaching staff, whether it be the Wilkins brothers, Wink, whoever else was involved, did not want to work things out, and they kind of just they knew they were going their separate ways after the season was over. So that is the report, guys. That is the article. We're gonna wait to see if there's any more information on this. We're gonna see if they get in contact with Wink Martindale. He can't be hiding forever, okay? He's not gonna just go into hiding, completely disappear off the face of the planet. They're gonna get in contact with him somehow. Hopefully we get another side to the story. I want to hear another side of the story. I want to see why Wink Martindale was so fed up with Brian Daboll, because it's not like this article almost kind of makes it seem that Wink Martindale is upset for no reason. There has to be a reason, and I want to get to the bottom of it. And I really want to get to the bottom of what happened in Baltimore as well, because that can really give us some indicators on Wink Martindale's mindset and what are the disagreements moving forward. So that being said, guys, that is the update. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. It's a bit of a long video, but we had to get into all of it. and we will see you guys in the next video. Woo!